always wanted to ask this question because I was so confused. Why can't women become priests or deacons?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and the only answer that I can give is because we don't believe that Jesus gave us the power to ordain women, and so we can't, as our church, we can't we can't just make things up. We have to go based on what Jesus's plan was for his church. And so part of it has to do with the early church. Jesus chose 12 male apostles, and then that ordination passed on from the 12 males to other males. Now, I want to be very clear about one thing. Being a priest or a deacon is not it's a role of service, because I don't know if you know about this, but there are two types of priesthood. Have you ever heard of this before? There's the priesthood of all of the faithful, all of the baptized faithful. And so when you were baptized and you all were baptized, and every time I baptize a baby, I take some oil and I rub it on their heads and I say something along the lines of, now you're being initiated into Christ, priest, prophet, and king. And so all of us are called to be priests and prophets and kings. And so what priests do is they offer sacrifices. And so your priesthood, the priesthood of all the baptized, is you are making sacrifices of your time and your talent and your all of these things in order to be in relationship with God. All right, so you're a priest, and you're a priest, and you're a priest, and you're a priest.
And a king?
And a king, and a prophet. And a prophet. All right? So, the priest that I am is only to make you all better priests. All right? So it's not a position of power. It's not like the ministerial priesthood is what it's called. It's not like that's a higher level or anything like that, but it's called the service, so that each of you grow in your own priesthood. And that also, while Pope Francis has made it very clear, just like the previous popes, that we don't believe we have the power to ordain women, women play an extremely important role in the church. I would love to see some young Palatine sisters from Belize, because, man, Sister Claire and Sister Alicia, they're powerhouses over there at Peloti. And you can say the same thing about the Mercy Sisters and the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth. All of these women who are doing great work. So be thinking about that, all right? Even if priesthood is not on the table for you, you can still radically dedicate yourself to God.
Yeah, and something that a priest told me, because I also had the same question about why can't women be priests, and he told me that part of it is that the church is the bride of Christ. So God gave priests the role as the bridegroom. So like a priest is someone that is like the husband of the church. And so it's like father's not married to a woman, but he's married to the church. So the church is the body of Christ. And so it's like only he can serve the role of bridegroom. Like a man can't be a bride. Like he can't be a nun, because nuns are brides of Christ, and he can never be a bride. Like Ernest and him can never be a bride, and we can never be bridegrooms. Like we can never be husbands. And so it's like we can't be priests because priests serve the role of the husband, and we can never be a husband. And so it's like the imagery and sort of the sign of like what heaven is, because in heaven we are all, like the church, in heaven we're like married to Jesus. And so the priests show that like they're Christ on earth. And so he has to show that like imagery of like he is Christ. And so a woman cannot be the person of Christ, because we serve a different role, and it would be unfair to ask women to serve the role that role, if like that's not what we're called to. Like we're given a different role, and our role is as like mothers, spiritual mothers, in the way that a sister would be. So that's also like another way to think about it.